First, Hurricane Ian rips a home out from under a family, forcing them to live on a bus. Then, when the family buys a piece of land and waits for FEMA, the county clears their land and takes away the bus they called home and their belongings. Now they're fighting the county to get it all back. News reporter Michael Hudak was at the county commission meeting today. And Michael, how did the meeting go for the family?
It was an unprecedented meeting in many ways, Lois. It flipped over on its own head when Shallow was kicked out of the meeting by commissioners and their security for this building. I followed him as he walked straight out of these doors, stormed out of the meeting with his 5 kids parading behind him. But something interesting happened when I went back into the chambers where the commission meeting was still happening. One of the commissioners stood up in the middle of the meeting. He walked over to the edge of the stage. He called me over to the edge of the stage in the middle of the meeting and handed me this pamphlet that you see right here, and he asked me to show it to all of you. Gary Shallow has been kicked out of a lot of places.
I'm not going to be able to control myself.
His home, after Hurricane Ian displaced him, his wife and 5 kids.
I've heard the last from us. You're trying to cover your lying.
Then, the property he bought in Charlotte County after the storm, because the county said the way he was living, in a shed on a vacant land with no sewage and no power and 5 kids and a wife and a cat, was a violation of county ordinance.
We wanted to stay in a dirt field instead of a hotel.
Now, the Charlotte County Commissioner's Chambers, in chaos.
You stepped on my property.
You're asking, why this time, Hudak? Well, I'll tell you.
Please return our items where you guys took them from.
You see, it didn't start that volatile. Shallow showed up after the county, with the help of abatement contractors, took Shallow's damaged boat, a tractor, and the bus that held everything from Social Security cards to relatives' ashes, and Shallow was arrested for trying to intervene. And so he spoke his mind during public comment.
Instead of treating us like human beings, you guys treated us like a statue instead.
The commissioners heard him out and then voluntarily responded during their time to comment.
Our code does not allow people to camp on vacant land, and that's what's going on here. There's no running water, there's no sanitary sewer except for porta potties. There's no internal plumbing.
But when Commissioner Teseo reiterated that the county gave Shallow plenty of warning and plenty of resources to try to help out, Shallow flipped out.
You're trying to cover your lying.
And got kicked out of the meeting. I followed him out. But when I got back in, Commissioner Teseo, the one you heard from earlier, got up in the middle of the meeting, walked over to the edge of the stage, and gave me a pamphlet, a photo-by-photo documentation of the day everything was seized, showing the condition that Shallow, his wife, and 5 kids were living in. To the commissioners, the issue with Shallow is not that deep. They even started discussing at the end of the meeting, after Shallow had been already kicked out of the meeting, okay, what can we do to help him still? They agreed to get in contact with his family to help facilitate the return of his personal belongings that, believe it or not, are still on that bus that was towed away from his property. For now, reporting live in Charlotte County, Michael Hudak, Wink News.